Finally, our character has animation. In this video, we'll introduce you to the use of State Machine using our character for the game Ludoria. Remember that this is a game that I am creating from scratch so you can learn, so you can follow my steps and decide what path do you want to take in terms of creating your own third-person shooter, but most importantly, to understand how Unreal works. Welcome to the Game Creator Accelerator channel. This is Tony Munoz. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss tutorials of Unreal Engine and also the strategies to differentiate from the rest of the community of game developers. And if you are still trying to figure out how to hack the system into the gaming industry, finding job opportunities, creating a community, and you don't want to waste your time testing, visit Munoz.com and learn more about the Game Creator Accelerator mentorship program. Take my free training, and if you feel that you want to have a call one-on-one with me, you also have a link in the description. It will be a transformative conversation, I can assure you. Now, let's start. Where we left in our previous video was this mechanic of, well, moving in any direction, but we don't have any animations. Nevertheless, we prepare everything using C++ where we defined the native initialize animation and the update ending properties. In Unreal, we create finally a blueprint inside the character's main character. This is the blueprint for the animation, and we connect the update ending properties to this event that updates with every frame. Now we'll get into the anim graph to start building our state machine. But what is a state machine in Unreal? Think of a state machine like a simple traffic controller for your character's animation. It decides which animation should play right now and when it should switch to another based on clear rules. Every frame, the output pose, is fed with the state machine and changes in animations. To add the state machine, get into the anim graph, right-click, and look for a state machine. Select the option that says state machine. Let's name it ground movement and connect the state machine to the output pose. At this moment, we can't compile because we still haven't defined what is happening inside the state machine. It's just presenting us a warning. Let's solve this. Double-click to open the state machine. What we want to achieve with our character in terms of the basic animation is define a state where we are first idle, then when we start jogging, when we start running, then running, and finally stop the running passing through a jog finish and then getting back to the idle. This node that you see inside the anim graph for the ground movement is the entry, and from that we will start anything related to this state machine. To create our first state, click and drag. For the base state, we will name it idle. I can move the position of my state in any direction. Now, I want to create a second state that will come from idle. To do it, position your mouse inside the box, click and drag, and again select another state. This second state will be called jog begin. So we know that after idle, we can pass to jog begin. This is the moment where the character starts jogging. Once we start jogging, I want to call another state called run. This is a cycle that will repeat with the movement of the character running. When we decided to stop, I want to create another state that will be called jog finish. And once we stop running or jogging, I go back to the idle. To connect it back, just drag the arrow inside the box. Also, there is an option where I can start jogging and go directly to jog finish. So drag another arrow from jog begin to jog finish. And another one that can be from jog finish to jog begin again. Now we're getting closer to compile, but even if we try to compile now, we need to define what will be the animations for every state. In order to add an animation for a state, double-click the state, and you will see an output animation pose. In order to run an animation here, you just have to select the animation associated with this character that you will find in the asset browser. And as you can see, we have a third-person idle. I can drag the animation inside and connect the animation to the output animation pose. If I compile this, this is working perfectly. In fact, you can see the animation as well here. If you want to continue exploring the animations, you can double-click the animation and you can see it in full. Now, I can go back to the ground movement by selecting on the top ground movement. Look that we are in the idle state. I can go back to the ground movement, to the animation graph. I can go backwards until the level where I want to make the setting. Let's go back to the ground movement and let's select now jog begin. The problem that I have with the jog begin and this character is that we don't have an animation that will help me start the running or the jogging of this character. We have the run, we have the walk, we have even the jump and loop and start, but we don't have the starting of the running. So in this case, one option is to retarget animations, but I don't want to get to that details at this point. My goal with this video is presenting how to use an entire sequence of the state machine. If you are in a hurry to see how to retarget animation for characters, I'm going to leave you in the description a link to other tutorials where I present how to do it. But at this point, what I will do is just saving this animation, go to map, and we are going to import another character. In the previous videos, I mentioned that Unreal provides us with a library of characters that we can use freely. The name of that library is the Paragon character. This is a list of a lot of characters full animated that you can use for your own projects or prototypes. One character I enjoy and love very much is the Wraith. So let's click this character. You can see that it's pretty cool. And then let's add it to our project. This is going to take some time, so I'm going to move forward to the next step once it is finished. Once the process finished, you can go to your content browser and you will find the Paragon Wraith. And inside you have the hero that we just selected. And you can also inspect all the animations that this character has inside the folder animations. Now, first off, I want to change my character, my current character, to use the Wraith character. So let's go to the main character, select the Blueprint class, open full Blueprint editor. Let's go to viewport, and we're going to change the mesh. You can click on the list and look for Wraith. And these are different versions of the same character. I will take the base one, which is Wraith. Right now it works, but this is not really its skeleton. One detail you can see is on the hands, it looks not perfect. And it's because he's not using the animation that corresponds to this character. I need to create a new blueprint animation for this character. Let's go back to map and let's create a new blueprint animation. Right click, select animation blueprint, look for the name of the class animation that we created, which, as you remember, it is named player anim instance. Look for player anim instance. So we have the parent class, and we defined what is the skeleton that we'll use. In this case, Wraith skeleton. Now create. Let's name this one Shooter Wraith Anim BP. And now, because I want to use this animation for my new character, let's go to the shooter base character and select the new animation. I name it with Wraith, and it's the shooter Wraith Anim BP. Now our character is straight again, and we can go to map 1, and from there open the new animation, shooter Wraith Anim. As you can see, we have a clean blueprint animation with no state machine. Right click again and look for a state machine. Select the state machine and let's name it just like the previous one, ground movement, because we're doing the same animations, and connect here. Now let's get inside the ground movement. what we can do is go to the other animation we created a moment ago, select all this group of states, Control Copy, go back to our new state machine, and paste them. And now I will connect the entry to the idle. But I have to make some changes related to the states. Let me take you away for a second. You're probably watching this because you're trying to achieve your dream in the gaming industry. I know how that feels. At 40, I decided to move into this industry, and I made a lot of mistakes before I got it right. I choose this path because we get only one ticket in life. I want to build something with legacy that helps me connect with others and feeds my creative spirit. If you feel the same, visit woolon.com and learn more about the game creator Accelerator. Then let's have a one-on-one chat to figure out how the program can help you become a more inspiring version of yourself. What are you waiting for? The link is in the description. Let's get inside the idle. Because I copy the states of the previous state machine, I also copy the animations from the other character. And I don't want that, so I just click and remove. This new character has a lot of other animations that I can use. Because I want to filter the idle animations, let's filter in the asset browser by idle. And you can see a lot of different animations that you can use. You can double click every animation and see what this animation is about. I have an animation that I particularly want, which is idle non-combat simple, not the additive. So check it. This is perfect. This is the animation I want for the character when it is in idle state. So I'm going to drag the animation and connect it to the output animation pose. If we compile, we still have some things to do, but we're in the right direction. Let's go back to the ground movement and now go to jog begin. In this case, I will look for jog forward start. This is the beginning of a jogging. So if you can see, the animation is on idle and then start jogging. Perfect. This is what I want. So jog forward start and connect to the output animation. Back again to the ground movement. Let's go to the run. For the run, well, it's not exactly run. The option that we have is jog forward. We're going to pick this option named jog forward. Look at it, and you can see that it is an animation of the character jogging. Drag this jog forward and connect it to the output animation pose. You can confirm that the one that you're using is the run state here on the top. Go back to the ground movement, and let's pick now jog finish. For the jog finish, we are going to look for jog forward and stop. Look at the animation, it stops. Fantastic. Drag the animation and connect it to the output animation pose. Compile, and we still have things to do, don't worry. What is still missing in our state machine is the rules for the transitions. The transitions are these connectors, these arrows that we have from one state to another. Let's define when we're going to change from one state to another so we can change the animations from idle to jog begin and then to run to jog finish and so on. Move your mouse over the transition and double click. Here you will see a node with the result of that transition. On the left, we are going to define the rules that make this transition happen. From the class that we define as a player anim instance, we set several variables that we can access in the blueprint. In particular, I want the speed, the B IsInAir, and the B IsAccelerating. Well, in fact, it's not the B. They will remove the B automatically inside the blueprint. But let me show you. The first condition to start jogging is that the speed has to be bigger than 0. So I can right-click and look for the variable speed. And you will see that we have an option that says get speed. That is because we define the speed as something that we can ask for inside the blueprint. And we did all that in C++. From the speed, drag a connector and look for greater than and select it. Because I want this to be greater than 0, this is the first condition that I need to make the transition. Now I can connect these two, but there are other conditions that I want to check. The second condition I want to check is IsInAir. And we also have the option of get IsInAir. But I want to confirm that it is not in air. So drag a connector to a not Boolean. Select this one, and we have the second condition. And now I need one last condition, which is IsAccelerating. Look for IsAccelerating. And now I want to check all these conditions at the same time. So I will use a logical AND. From the first one, that is the speed, drag to an AND. Select the option that says AND Boolean. The second condition can be connected on this one, but we need another pin. To add another pin, click here. And now I can drag from the IsAccelerating to the last pin. I need that these three conditions apply in order to make the transition to jog begin. Now I can drag a new connector from the AND to the result. And if I compile, this is already working. We have the first one. Let's go back to ground movement. The second transition is from jog begin to run. But in this case, I don't have to get inside this condition because what I want is that once the jog begin finish, we move to run. It is automatically. That's what I want. So to make this transition automatic, look inside the details and you have an option that says automatic rule based on sequence player in state. Click here to make it true. And again, compile. We're getting closer. Another parameter that I didn't mention is the blend setting. And this is a parameter that allows us to fade between the two animations. And it's something that we will test later on, and we change the duration to something that feels right. Now, from the run to the jog finish, I need to check other conditions. So double click on the transition, and let's define the rules. Different to the start jogging, in this case, I just want to check if the character is accelerating and make a negation of that. Not Boolean, and connect to the result. To play this transition, what I want is to confirm that the player is not pushing the character, is not pushing a key or using the gamepad to move in the character. Remember that IsAccelerating in Unreal, different to any other concepts in physics, which is kind of weird. In Unreal, IsAccelerating means that the player is pushing the key W or S in our case, or using the gamepad. At the moment that you release the key, for Unreal, it means that IsAccelerating is false. Let's compile and go back to the ground movement. We still have things to do. When we finish the jog and the player is not asking to do anything else, then we'll go automatically to the idle. So I can select the transition and again pick true as automatic rule based on sequence player in state. Compile. And we have two more to fix. First, let's go from jog begin to jog finish. Double click the transition. And here I'm going to check that the speed is less or equal than 0. Compile. And go to the ground movement. And now let's do the jog finish to jog begin. As you can imagine, in case that I want to move from jog finish to jog begin is because the player is hitting the key to move again, which means is accelerating. And connect to the result. Compile. And now we have green flag in compile. Save. Now let's test. Go to map. Play it. Okay, this looks good. And now let's move. Oh, the animations are not running. But why? Why? Don't panic. Remember that we add a new animation blueprint. Open the animation blueprint, and in the event graph, you will see that the event blueprint update animation is not updating anything. And inside our class, remember that we create this method called update anim properties. We need to call this in order to change the values of IsInAir, speed, IsAccelerating, etc. So let's go back to our event graph, right-click to find the update anim properties, connect it, and connect also the delta time x. Compile, save, and now let's test. Here is our character, and when I start moving, the character moves. Of course, there are some things that I have to fix in terms of the animation, but our character is now animated, and that feels really good. And also, we don't have the jumping animation. That's something that we'll figure out later on. Now that we have our character animated, we'll have to make some tune that we will do in the next video. Remember that this is part of Ludoria, a third-person shooter that I am creating where all the code is at your disposition here on this YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, share, ring the bell, and comment to support this initiative. And remember to visit woolen.com to learn more about the Game Creator Accelerator, the lifetime mentorship program that will help you build a successful career in video games, not only with technical skills, but also with strategies and methodology to achieve your final goal. I'll be beside you to help you develop the game that you want to create, find the job opportunities that you want, create the community of fans that you need, and building a plan for the mid and long-term independence as a game creator. What can be better? Until next time, keep creating, keep sharing, and most importantly, keep dreaming big. I'll see you soon, my fellow creators.